name is Katie Hoffman, and I am a Family Consumer Science Extension Educator with the University of Idaho Extension in Lemhi County. Today, we're going to talk about holiday leftovers. Ham and turkey can be a great holiday meal that can really feed a large amount of people, but what do you do with all the leftovers? Ham and turkey can be really versatile, and there's lots of great ways that you can mix up flavors and add to your holiday meals throughout the weekend, especially if you have a crowd to feed after the meal. One of the ways that you can use ham and turkey is in leftovers. Turkey is really great in things like enchiladas, where you can mix up the flavor profile and try something a lot different instead of your basic. If you want to stick with your seasonal flavors, a turkey, cranberry, and cheese quesadilla is also a great option for lunch. There's lots of recipes online for turkey and for ham. Ham is great because it can be used in breakfast, lunch, and dinners. A baked omelet in a casserole dish with ham and cheese is a great way to use your ham and still feed a crowd. Or you can do something as simple as adding ham to your homemade macaroni and cheese. So there's lots of options to use that holiday meal that just keeps on giving. Today, we're going to demonstrate how to make a ham and cheese quiche, another great way to feed a crowd, again with your holiday leftovers. Now, when you're storing your leftovers, it's very important that you take the leftovers and put them into a shallow dish so they can cool evenly and quickly as soon as you're finished with your meal, and get them into the refrigerator so that they can avoid foodborne illness. Once you have your leftovers stored and you're ready to use them, then you can start making a recipe like this. So to make our ham and cheese quiche, it's very simple. I like recipes that have a lot of versatility. You can change them up to meet the needs and flavors of your family's preferences, and it's not hard to do. So today's ham and cheese quiche is very simple. You're basically just going to take your ingredients and pour them into your bowl, whisk them together, and then add them to a pie crust. So of course, with a quiche, one of your first ingredients is going to be your eggs. This recipe calls for 4 eggs, lightly beaten. And so you're going to crack your eggs into your bowl and have them ready to use. I like quiche dishes because eggs are something that my kids will eat really readily, and it's something we usually have available at our house, and it's a great source of protein. The fun thing about quiche is you can make them for breakfast, but they also work well for lunches and dinners. So you're gonna wanna beat your eggs just slightly so they'll mix in a little easier with your other ingredients. Now, you'll add salt and pepper to taste. The recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of each. You can go ahead and change that up if you prefer. Some people like to use white pepper in their quiche because it doesn't show up as much in the egg mixture, but you can choose how you'd like. Now, you're also going to add half a sauteed onion. This onion's been previously sauteed in butter and chopped. Now, if I'm feeling a little bit lazy or I don't have a lot of time on my hands, I'll also add onion powder. Now, about a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder to taste should be enough, but if you like more, you can always add more. Next, you're gonna add some other ingredients like your cheese. Now, this recipe calls for a cup of cheddar and a cup of shredded Swiss cheese. You don't have to use these flavor combinations. If you only like cheddar, you can use only cheddar cheese. If you prefer other flavors, you can mix that up as well. Now, here's a really good time in the recipe that you can add a little bit more nutritional value and a little bit more flavor by adding different vegetables. It's as simple as adding a cup of chopped broccoli or peppers or spinach to the recipe. You're gonna add nutritional value and fiber, as well as some really great color, and change the flavor of the dish. Now, the recipe calls for a cup of half and half. If you're looking at reducing your calories, you can also use 1% milk, but you will lose a little bit of that richer flavor and a little bit of the golden color when this bakes up. But that's your choice, and it's an easy way to reduce the fat in your recipe. Now we're going to add the main ingredient for the ham and cheese quiche, the ham. This ham is diced and chilled like I recommended for your leftovers earlier. Now, when you're preparing your leftovers, you want to make sure that if you're using a cup and a half for this dish, you only get a cup and a half out of the refrigerator and prepare it. You don't want to have your leftovers being heated and reheated again and again. That will increase the bacterial load and make your food unsafe to eat. So just use the amount you're going to be using for that single recipe. So we're going to just mix this all up nice and smooth and get all those ingredients distributed evenly. So now we're going to add the ingredients into our pie crust. Now the recipe calls for a deep dish pre-made pie crust. However, mine didn't say deep dish on it, but as you can see, it fits in this deep dish really, really well. So most of your standard size pie crust will fit in a deep dish pan. I do recommend a deep dish pan for this recipe because there's a lot of filling and it's definitely going to fill this all the way to the top. Now there's some variations you can use if you are looking to reduce your carb intake or calorie intake or are gluten-free. You can also just skip the crust, make sure you pan or oil the pan really, really well, but you can skip the crust. You can also make individual sized quiches by putting it into a muffin tin, either by cutting out the pie crust and putting it in the bottom, or just leaving the pie crust out again and putting those into muffin tins. They bake a little bit faster than you would do baking this whole quiche, because when this quiche goes in the oven, it's going to go for 45 minutes, but if you're doing the muffin tins, it usually only takes about 30. So keep that in mind as you get ready to do that. So it's very simple. You just take all of your ingredients and you pour them in to your pie crust. Now, if you'd like, you could also even top this with a little bit more cheese, and then give it a really pretty brown golden cheese top, or you can leave it just like this. It doesn't matter either way. If you have more cheese and you want to do that next step, you can. Otherwise, this is completely ready to go into the oven at 375 for 40 to 45 minutes. And you'll put it in the oven, and when you pull it out after 45 minutes, it will look like this, all beautiful and golden and bubbly. There will be no jiggly parts in the middle. It'll all set up firm, and once it's cooled, it's nice and firm like this and ready to slice and serve to your guests for your next holiday meal using your leftover ham.